Hey guys, welcome to the Whimsical Workshop. In this video, we are going to be doing block 2 of the Imagine quilt, along with learning how to make a zipper pouch. So let's get started. Yay! Alright, so hopefully you joined us last month for the first block of the Imagine quilt and the big kickoff. I will make sure to put the link to that video below just in case you missed it. But again, these are also standalone videos to give you tips on how to do things in piecing and sewing and applique and how to assemble some other things. So even if you aren't able to follow along with the pattern, which I will talk about here in a second, I hope you enjoy the video and still learn stuff from it. Alright, so what is the Imagine Quilt Block of the Month and how can you get it? We partnered with a local quilt shop called Mulqueen's Sewing Center, and I'm going to put the link here below to their website. So what they did is they've partnered with Aurifil threads and created a box of 3 threads each month. These are 50 weight spools of thread in different colors that I curated, and in the end of the year, if you follow us the whole year, you will have 36 beautiful colors of Aurifil thread. Also, each month when you get your box of threads, you will get that month's pattern of the Imagine block of the month. Until the club is over, this is the only way to access this pattern is through the club. Currently, it is $49.95 a month, and that gets you the pattern and the threads, which, believe me, these threads just by themselves are about $45 for a box, so you're just paying $4 for the pattern. And you get to follow along on the video for tutorials. And if you're here locally in Phoenix, you can also, we'll probably be doing some classes over there to do like catch up as we go. And if you're not in Phoenix, you can still contact them. They're going to be shipping these out to people all around the country. So reach out to them if you want to join us. We are only on month 2. It's very easy to catch up. And again, you can start and stop however you want. But with all of that, let's get into block 2. So you'll see right here, this is the block. I've even done some thread painting on here that we'll talk about. But we need 2 of them to make the topper of the quilt. And then in each month, we also give you a bonus project in case you don't want to make the quilt. You can also just follow along, use your threads, and make the bonus project. And so this month what I did is I created this 12 by 12 inch zipper pouch so we can learn how to sew with vinyl, how to put in a zipper easily, and how to make this little tab. So there's a lot of different things with the zipper pouch. So with all of that, let's jump in. So first things first, we're gonna kind of follow along with the instructions. This is a big pattern. This is a 10-page pattern. We list all of your cutting for the block, and we list all of your cutting for the zipper pouch. So if you don't want to do this, you can follow that, or vice versa. And then the directions are broken up into projects. So the block assembly is first, and then we go into actually putting, this was done in month 1, and the sashing was done in month 1. So the very last thing we're going to do is sew both months together to create the top of our quilt. Then we get into the zipper pouch instructions, which are here, and how to sew with vinyl, how to add your zipper, and I'm going to go through that in the video, and we're going to assemble it here. And then we give you your templates in the back. The star templates are here, as well as this guy. So we give you everything in here so you can do it at home, but you can also just follow along with me here. Boy, a lot of info right out the gate. So the first step in the project is to do the appliqued stars and then to finish the edges. I'm going to do a real quick recap here for you. Okay, so we are to the applique part of block 2, and I just want to recap it. If you want a full step-by-step tutorial including the stitching, make sure you refer back to month 1. I will leave a link in the video below so you can get to that. But again, what you do is you take the templates from your pattern, which are right, whoops. Don't mind my notes, I was marking on this for something else. So you take these templates, you take fusible web, lay it over the top and trace it, which is what I've done here. And then you trace it, cut it out roughly outside the drawn lines, and iron it onto the fabric. I was able to just gang these up because they're all the same color. And then we're going to cut them out on the drawn line, which will seal your edges. So I'm going to go ahead and cut all of these out off camera so you don't have to watch this. And then once I have all these cut out, we're going to go ahead and press them onto the 4.5-inch squares. These are the corners, and then you get one big star in the middle. So I'll show you those after. And then in this month's threads, you got 2105, which mine has seen better days. I don't know what I did with it, but there we go. This will match that perfectly. And you can use it for this one, or you can do this one in the light. And this is 2135 from box 1. And you can use that on the dark to contrast the thread to the star, or you can do that on the light and that one on the dark, and they match and it just disappears. Totally up to you which way you want to do your threads. So I am going to go ahead and get these cut out, pressed, and stitched because we covered all of that in the last video. And I will be back to show you how to assemble the blocks. Okay, and then as I mentioned, you can do the light. We're going to use, these are the threads we got this month. We got a light blue, a dark blue, and a light yellow. So we've got 2710, 2105, and 1320 here. And I used the light yellow. I did two different things here. I'm going to show you this little cheater thing here. On this one, I matched the light yellow to the light yellow, and then I went back to month 1 and took out 2135, and I matched the gold to the dark yellow. So you could do that. You could do both stars in just the light yellow if that's the only box you bought. Or you can do the opposite, which is what I did here. I used the dark gold from month 1 on the little stars, and I used the light yellow on the dark stars. It doesn't matter, it's whatever floats your boat, but that's what I did. So if you need more detail on this, you can refer back again to month 1 where we break down the entire process on how to do that. So once you have your star blocks done, you will need 8 of these for the blocks and 2 of these for the blocks. And then if you're doing the zipper pouch, you need 4 of these and 2 of these. And we'll go into that when we get to the zipper pouch. Okay, so once you have your star blocks done, we're ready to make the triangle and a square block. I do want to talk about how to cut these as well as how to piece them. You take the templates out of the pattern, you can just cut these out and then cut your different shapes from the paper templates. But if you happen to have rulers in your house, or even want to purchase a great ruler, this one is one of my favorites. I use it in a ton of our patterns. This is the Creative Grids 2 peaks and 1 6-inch triangle, and it makes these little shapes here which are in our pattern. So if you ever get a pattern and you own this ruler, what you can do is you can take the ruler and you can lay it right on the pattern and figure out that I'm making 4-inch finished units right here. Let me turn it this way, make it a little easier for you to read it. The black bubbles tell you the finished size and the white bubbles tell you the cut size. So if you lay this on this pattern, you can tell we're doing 4-inch finished units. So I have to cut 4.5-inch strips, which I have cut here. And then you can do this whether it's for the paper or for the plastic ruler. This is a solid, so and we're cutting the middle triangles, the template 2 triangles. So I keep my fabric folded. Now this side of the ruler is going to cut your sides, which are the white pieces in this case, and this side of the ruler will cut your centers, which is this powder blue. So I align, this is a 4.5-inch strip, I align the 4.5-inch strip there and the top of the ruler there, and I go ahead and I cut. And the first one you have to cut both sides. So now I have 2 of those. Then you just flip the ruler over and you can keep on cutting. Okay? So that's nice and easy. So that's how you cut your centers. And again, if you were using the paper template, you would cut out on the solid line, lay it on here, cut, lay it on here and cut. So that's how that one works. Then we've got the white corners. Now, what you need is, let me remember, you need 8 template 1s, which are going this direction. and you need 8 template 3s, which are the mirror image. So when you cut these, I usually keep it folded the way it came off the bolt, and I cut them. And every time I cut, I'm getting 1 of each. So in this case, I need 8 of each shapes, so I have to make 8 cuts through 2 layers. I'll get 8 for the right side, or I'll get 8 for the left side and 8 for the right side. So how this works with the ruler, which is different from the paper, you're just gonna lay it on here and you're gonna cut the shape just like this. And I do like to square off and get rid of the selvage. So let's get rid of the selvage first. Then we're ready to cut. So if you're cutting just with the paper templates, you're gonna lay it on here like this and you're gonna do 1 cut. And that's what you get with the paper templates. The reason I like to jump over to this ruler is that you can, when you cut this, you can cut, there's a little notch at the top you get rid of. So then you slide the ruler up to where it says baseline right here, which is just the bottom of that ruler. No matter what size you cut, you just use baseline to align the bottom, and you can take that notch off. And then you have 1 of each side. Okay, so again, I'm going to cut one that looks like the paper template so you can see why I like this over this. So again, you just flip your ruler over, align the 4.5 with the top and the bottom of the ruler with the bottom. Okay, so if you're doing it with just the paper templates, this is what you end up with, and you're going to have to align it here, and you're going to want to make sure that you have about a quarter, well, you need to be pretty accurate. You want a 1/4 inch there and a 1/4 inch there, and then you're going to take it over and sew it. The reason we give you paper templates is not everybody wants to spend $20+ on a ruler. So that is how you would do it if you use the paper templates. Now, if you've purchased the ruler and you've cut these little triangles out with the notches, when you go to align it, this aligns perfectly at each end. So that's aligned, and then that's aligned with my little 1/4 inch triangle, and I don't have to guess, and I can just sew it. So that is why this is a really good investment if you like to do triangles in a square, because it is handy to do. And I know you can get this ruler at Mulqueen's, or you can also get it from us at thewhimsicalworkshop.com, but it is my workhorse ruler. I do use it a lot. And again, it is the Creative Grids 2 peaks and 1 ruler. Double check your stash to see if you may have an easy quilting Tri-Rex ruler set, because that is a similar ruler to this. You do get the top notch, but you don't get the bottom notch. But if you already have it, you might want to try it instead of the paper templates. So that's my sales pitch on a ruler. So we've got that, and let's clean all this up. So now that we have these, the first thing we want to do is we want to align this guy with this guy, just like I showed you. And then I'm going to go over and I'm going to sew it. And you need to make 8 of these. So we have that. Then once we have this sewn, which you can see sewn, you're going to press this guy out first. I'm just going to finger press this right now. So once we have that done, then you're going to take the other side of this. And remember, if you're using the fabric in the kit, there is a white on white print. So there is a right and wrong side. And you want to align this like this, and you're going to sew it, and that will get you this here. So we're going to press this out, and now we have our triangle in a square. This should measure 4.5 inches. If not, you can trim it up, but it should be pretty accurate to 4.5 inches. So now we have, you end up with 8 of these. So now we're on to page 3. And we need to add the little yellow accents to this. So how you do that is you do flip and sew. So we're going to take one 2.5 inch square of the light yellow. We're going to lay it on one corner, and we're going to sew from point to point, which is done right here. And you're going to flip this guy out and press it and make sure it aligns the corner. If it does, you can get rid of everything in the back, or you can just cut away the yellow and keep the white in the back. It is totally up to you how you do this. I tend to cut both away because I don't like a lot of bulk in my pieces, but this is also a pieced unit back here, so sometimes I kind of play it safe and I just cut this out and leave it in case for some reason I sewed it wrong and I don't catch it till later. So we're going to sew one of those on, press it, trim the fabric, then we're going to go ahead and sew the second one on, same way. Again, press it and trim the fabric, and you can see here where I did only trim the yellow out of these. So I would just take this piece out, leave that, and press that out. Again, personal preference. So then once you have that done, you have this unit. Okay, so you need 8 of these because you need 4 for each block. And again, you need 2 of these for the center. And you will need 4 of these for the corners. So this is what your block looks like. So 1, 2, 3, 4 here. So then once you have all of your units sewn up, we are ready to sew them into rows. So there is my top row. And you just want to orient the yellow stars however you like, but I oriented them all in. And there is the block. You're going to sew them into rows and you're going to press towards the dark blue. So this way and this way, this way and this way, and then this way and this way. So then once you've done that, you're ready to sew the rows into your block. We're going to set these aside. And here it is. There is the finished block. And this one I pressed up because these seams right here, these guys right here are super bulky and they did not want to go this way. So I pressed this up and this one down, and that made it lay much flatter. Now the next step to do your block is completely optional. And what I did is I took, because we're using the threads in the box, so here are our threads. So I used this for blanket stitching, I used this for piecing, and I'll probably use it for quilting. And then I used this to do this decorative detail, which you can see here in the picture. There's the decorative detail, and see how close I can get. And so what I've done is I've drawn a little vine, a curly vine. So, and this was just to add some interest to the block. And there's no, I mean, everyone is going to be different, so I don't need to worry about that. So I did 2 big ones and then a little guy here. And I'm using a Frixion pen. These are erasable pens. And so there's that. And then what I did is I went over to my sewing machine. I loaded up this blue, dark blue thread, and I went through the decorative stitches to find one that was just very, very small and maybe vine-like or flowery-like, so it looked like little buds. And I just slowly stitched the decorative stitch along the drawn vine lines, and that added this beautiful detail to the blocks. And it used all 3 threads, because that's the goal each month. I found that the funnest part about designing this was that each month I had 3 threads to play with and to see what I wanted to do with each thread. Now remember, this is all about the thread club. The quilt is a bonus part. So you will not be using all, I think it's 500 meters. No, it's 1,300 meters on this thing. You're not going to use all 1,300 meters. The goal is to build up an Aurifil thread library, a 50 weight thread, which is perfect for piecing and quilting and embroidery, hand sewing. It's like a workhorse. You can use it for just about anything. And the quilt is just the bonus to go with the thread box. So now that I've got this all drawn, I'm going to go ahead and stitch this in. I'll show you what it looks like at the end, and then we can get started on the zipper pouch. All right, so here they are. I did a decorative stitch. I did use a stabilizer on the back. I like to use the sulky, sticky fabric solvay. This stuff, just you put it in water and you rub it and it all comes away. And then to get rid of the drawing lines, you can either iron it, or if you use a really dimensional stitch, you can use a hairdryer to erase the Frixion pen lines. So these are all set and ready to go. So the next thing is we're going to pull out block 1 there, and these sashing pieces, all of these were done in month 1. And I'm going to go ahead and sew this top unit together and show you what it looks like at the end. Alright, so I have the whole top of the quilt sewn. My arms are awfully short, but there it is. You can see where block 1 is in the middle, and then block 2s are at the end, and then we added the border from block 1. This is the sashing. So this is the top of our quilt. That aside, and we are going to move on to the zipper pouch. And this is a really fun project to do. It shouldn't take too terribly long. I'm going to show you my tricks on how I put my zippers in and how I work with vinyl. You are going to need a glue stick. I find this handier than Wonder Clips, but you're also going to need Wonder Clips as well. We're going to use 2 different things. I'm going to piece the whole thing in the dark blue that came in the box. This one we obviously used for stars, and this one you could also use for stars. I think on the first one I made that's at the Mulqueen shop, I used the light blue. It gives it a nice look, but we're going to use the dark blue because we're going to be doing some top stitching as well as regular piecing, and I want it to all match the fabric. Alright, so here's what we're going to need to make our zipper pouch. You're going to need I like the Elmer's washout school glue stick. Any kind of glue stick will work. The cheaper the better. So the Elmer's one is perfect. You'll need a zipper foot. I'm using a Bernina. It's the number 4 foot, so you can use this foot. Or I have started using my Bernina number 10 foot, which looks like this. It has this little flangey thing. And so what I do is I run the zipper next to the flange and I move my needle over, and I seem to get a cleaner stitch or seam with the number 10 foot. I think it's a cording foot, I think is what it's called, but I'm not sure the correct name. So whatever brand you have, look for a foot that looks like that. All right, then you're going to need a piece for your handle or strap. You're going to need checkerboard squares. I have 6 of each color. You're going to need 2 pieces of vinyl that are 6.5 by 10.5, and you are going to need 8 strips to go on either side. You are going to need a 12 to 14 inch zipper, and then 1 by 2 inch piece to do the ends of the zipper to finish it. You'll have to read the directions, and you will need 4 of the 2 small stars and 2 of the bigger stars. Then you're going to need 2 of these skinnier strips and 2 of these thicker strips. They're going to be the interior of the bag so that these seams don't show, that they're all sealed with the fabric. So we're going to show you how to do that. So now that we've got all of that, we are going to do the zippers first. I'm going to show you how to do the zipper first. So let's move all of this out of the way and this out of the way. And so what you're going to do is you're going to go to the iron and you're going to fold in a 1/4 inch on each edge of your strip, and then we're going to fold it in half and press it. So, you know, it looks like that. So let me go iron those down, and then we're going to put them on our zippers. All right, so these are done. So you can see I folded it in a 1/4 inch and pressed it, and then I folded it in half and pressed it. And that's going to go on each end of my zipper. So first you're going to take some scissors that are not fabric scissors, because you're going to cut through the zipper, and I cut off the end stuff, and I'm just going to leave the stopper there, and I'm going to slide this over the top about a 1/2 inch, and I'm going to top stitch right across here. And then what we're going to do is you can do 2 things. In the pattern I wrote to measure from this stopper to this stopper to be 12.5 inches. That's what you're going to need there. So you're going to want to pull this zipper back and measure where this is going to go over it. So if it's about a 1/2 inch, you're going to cut your zipper. I would cut it at 12.25 from here to here, and then I would slide this on, and then you can do it that way. Or you can go ahead and sew the first section together and measure it against that as well. I know it's 12.5, so I can go ahead and do that, but I'm not going to do that right now because the directions tell you to do that, so you can follow that. I'm going to show you the second option to do your zipper, and that means I need to go sew these together into checkerboards. So there's 3 of each color, and we're making 2 sides of the bag. So, you know, 3 go like this, and then we're going to do it a second time. And same thing here. So that is 1. And then for the bottom of the bag, we're going to sew, and we got to make 2 of those as well. We're going to sew those 3 together. So let me get those units sewn together, and then I'll come back and we'll be ready to finish assembling the bag. All right, so we've got these sewn together. So I've got 1 for the back and 1 for the front. Same thing here, we've got these sewn together for back and front. So now we're ready to start assembling the full zipper pouch, back and front, which look the same. And so what we need to do is we're going to take our vinyl. Now this is the heavier vinyl. I'm not sure of the gauge, but it's very thick stuff. I really like working with the heavier vinyl. It's a little more durable. Things don't poke through it. And it usually comes with a paper backing. So you're going to pull that off, which is going to make this a little bit harder to see. So let's see if I keep this here, if that helps us. So when I work with vinyl and I'm sewing, I like to have a piece of fabric on both sides of the vinyl so it slides through my machine easier. I do have a Teflon foot, in which case I could have fabric on one side and the Teflon foot would slide over the top. But most of us don't have that, so I designed this to use your normal sewing machine feet. So you're going to put 1 piece of the side, this is like 1 1/4 by 6.5. And then we're going to put align the vinyl on top of that. And then I'm going to take another piece and put that on top. And then I'm carefully it does want to slide on the vinyl, but I am just going to clip the 3 layers together all the way down. And I'm going to repeat this on the other side. And then I'm going to go over and sew it and then carefully press it out. So this is it sewn. And then I went carefully pressing it out to try not to touch the iron to the vinyl. It will melt your vinyl. So I usually lay it on my ironing board and I iron it this way, flip it, iron it this way. I don't try to do this. I work from the edge. So did you see all that? I hope so. So again, iron it. I put the tip of the iron this way with the body of the iron that way so I don't touch this with the iron. So there is one side all sewn. I'll go ahead and get this side sewn. Now we're ready to add the top and bottom to this. So what you're going to need for the bottom is one of the star pieces, and you should have a matching solid blue piece. And so this is the edge that goes to the bag. Huh. Why are you not the right size? Alright, so this will get sewn to this, but if you notice, I am short. Your pattern will be right, I promise. But I'm going to go ahead and correct this. The pattern, I'm going to have you cut them 2.5 inches wide instead of 1 1/4. And then what I'll do is once I've sewn it and pressed it, I'm going to square it up to measure 12.5. I think that will be a much better solution for both you and me. Okay, so then once you've got this, you're going to need to trim this to measure 12.5, and that is what the zipper unit would be if you had followed the directions, and should be what this is, which it is 12.5. So I went ahead and I marked the center, and then it looked like I was going to trim 1 1/4 off of each side, so I put a mark on each one. And then I laid my ruler down to make sure it measures 12.5. Now I can comfortably trim these and feel like it's going to come out just right. So I'm going to go ahead and trim these. So those are done. And then I'm going to just flip this over and trim this one. And that's done. Alright, so there is one side done, and then this side should be exactly the same. So I'm going to live dangerously and just trim it up. So we've got our 2 front pieces. I feel comfortable now with this because these all measure 12.5, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to trim my zipper from this point to here. Again, I'm marking it 12.5, and then this side we'll just do it this way again, just to try to get it right. And then I'm going to take my junky scissors. No matter how much space you have on your table, you never have enough. I'm going to pull this up closer, but I don't want to undo my zipper. I'm just going to cut the ends. Okay, so those are gone. And now I'm going to pull this zipper back. And I'm going to slide my other zipper cap on. And I should be able to butt that right up there. And I'm going to measure, and it is 12.5. So I'm going to go ahead, if I can get this clipped, I'm going to clip it. I'm going to go top stitch it just like I did this side, and then my zipper unit will be done. So that's a little trick there. And I need my Wonder clips, which I keep losing. There we go. There are my Wonder clips. So when I'm trying to put these on the zipper, I will just clip one side and then slide the other half of the zipper in, because it wants to fight you. Always wants to fight you. And then you can just slide that over like that. Now I'm going to go top stitch that just like I did on this side. Before I do it, I'm going to measure one more time, and there we go. It's 12 inches. It's 12.5 inches. And then we'll have the middle of our bag done and the zipper unit done, and then we're ready to finish it. Alright, so we're going to set the zipper piece aside for now because we aren't using it. We're going to set this piece aside. So to do these bags, the front, you want to put this on here, and we want to put, I want to make sure I do this right, this on here. But if I just sew one on, all of these seams are going to show on the inside. So what I did in the design is I have you cut one of these and put it on the other side. So they measure the same. And again, when we're sewing on our vinyl, we're using vinyl fabric. We're creating a sandwich basically. So there's the front, the vinyl, and the back. And that way it slides through your sewing machine better. So then I'm going to clip those on. And then I'm going to do the same thing up here. So just make sure that the stars and the checkerboard are on the same side. And they are. And then I had you cut a 2.5 by 12.5. That goes on the back side of the vinyl. So I'm just going to sandwich all of these, clip them. You're just going to sew on each side and open it up to make our bag front. And then I'm going to repeat the same thing with this piece. So let me get those sewn on. Then we're down to the strap and putting it all together. So let me get this done and I'll be right back. Alright, so I have my bag front and back together. You can see they both look the same, so when you flip this, the checkerboard will repeat all the way around the bag. So if you had any questions about the checkerboard and did this one have to change, no, you want them exactly the same. So now we're ready to put the zipper in. So we are going to do that next. And my secret to that is the glue stick. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put the zipper right side up. And think about, do you want the zipper to pull from the right to left if you're a lefty? And if you're a righty, I think righties, we like it this way. So decide which way you want the zipper to pull. And then you're going to take that and put it right side up on the table. So the little zipper pull is on top. Then you're going to take one of these, and you're going to lay that on top, and we're going to glue or clip, though I like gluing, this edge to the top of the zipper. Don't do this. You want to glue it up here. So this is where I like to use a glue stick, if I can get it open. There we go. And I love the purple ones because when they dry, they go clear. And that way I know my glue may have dried before I got it in position. So we're going to put that there, and you can see it in the video better. And then I'm going to align the edge of my bag with the top half of the zipper. And this is extra. We can clip that in if we need to make sure we catch it in the seam. Or you could run a little basting stitch. I just sort of hold it in place. But the gluing is just the first layer, so you can just flip it out of your way right now. And then when you're sewing, you're going to want to move the zipper head as needed, so that if I start on this end, I can get to here, but then I'm going to stop, lift everything up, and pull the zipper out of my way as I continue sewing. Don't try to sew next to this zipper head. You will have to move it out of the way as you're sewing. So in this case, I even do it for gluing. I'm going to move this down so that I can get a nice good glue right at the end. And I'm gluing right over the little zipper tab as well. And if you get excess on here, you can just take a wet paper towel, wipe it away, and it'll just disappear. So, and you want to make sure everything's aligned and get that glued in place. Okay, and then once you have it all glued in place, I'm going to go over to the sewing machine and I'm going to use my zipper foot and sew this on here. And then we're going to come back and we're going to put the other side on the other half. So let me go get this sewn and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've sewn my zipper on and I'm going to zip this up so it's easier to see. And then you're going to flip this out. And if the glue is holding, you can just sort of pull it apart. And again, if you have any gluey substance, you can just take a wet paper towel and wipe it and it'll go away and you won't see it. See, I just had to re-glue it so you can see some purple, but if I take a wet paper towel, that's just going to go away. So now what I need to do is I need to top stitch right along this edge to kind of help that zipper set in better. Then, after that's been top stitched, which I'm going to go over and do, this piece will get glued on up here. And we'll sew it on and top stitch it, flip it out, and top stitch it just like that. Once I do that, we'll be ready to make the strap and close up the bag. Alright, so I have got this top part top stitched. And what I did, which is actually optional, is I top stitched all the way around this little window here so that it's kind of all held together and these little flaps kind of are aligned better. My zipper got a little wonky here, but I think we're going to be fine, and I will clean up the glue on there later. So now we're ready to basically close this up. But before we do that, we need to do two things. One, pull the zipper back so this is open, because we're going to turn the whole bag right side out through this opening. So if you forget and you leave your zipper closed and you sew it, you have no way to turn it right side out. So we're going to do that. The second thing is, I thought it was really cute to have a little handle or strap there. So what you do is you take this, I think was a 3" by 10". Is it 3? Yeah, 3 by 10" piece of fabric, and I went over to the iron and I folded it in half and pressed it. Then I opened it back up and I folded in each raw edge to that center line and then folded it again. Now I'm just going to top stitch this. We're going to fold it in half and I'm going to align it with the strap sticking in and it's caught in the seam. So let me go ahead and top stitch this. I am going to top stitch it in blue so it matches all of this other blue. And then I'll come back and we're going to clip this together and I'll show you how to sew the last seam. Alright, so I went ahead and let's get a hand there. I stitched it in the blue so it matches where I did the blue on the bag. I just thought I would carry it through. Obviously we have yellow from this month or the darker yellow from month 1 if you wanted to match your top stitch. So now that I have my strap ready, I'm just going to tuck it in here. And I'm going to do a little clip right there just to help me keep it in place. And now I'm going to close this up and I'm going to align my side seams here and use Wonder Clips. You can use pins if you like. I just find Wonder Clips when you're getting to this kind of bulk works better. I'm going to slide this off the strap and collect that other piece. And when I get to the zipper, I'm just sort of folding it flat and I'm going to put a clip right there. Now how we're going to sew this together is we're going to start down here. Let me get it in the right orientation here. We're going to start down here. We're going to sew up and then knot it. And we're going to come back down. We're going to start here and go up and knot it up here. The reason I like to do that is because these two parts are the hardest parts. Because of the zipper, it's bulky. You may or may not get all the way up to the top. So if you start here, this is all nice and easy, and you can just do your best to get to the zipper, and then you can just stop when you hit the zipper. I find that also helps align the bag better, and I don't make as many errors trying to sew these puppies together. This is really an easy step, but that just makes it a little bit easier. So I'm going to go ahead and get this clipped all the way around, and then I'm going to go ahead and sew it, and then I'll come back and we're going to turn it right side out, and you're going to see your zipper pouch. Alright, so I'm back. We've got it all sewn. No, I haven't trimmed all my crazy wild threads here. But by doing this, like I said, if we start in the middle, work this way, and work up, I was able to go, where's my camera? Not doing so hot here today. There we go. By doing that, I was able to go all the way up to the corner where the zipper is. And the same thing on this side. I was able to go all the way up. So that is one of my handiest tips anytime you're dealing with something with a zipper is start, work your way up, and end at the zipper. So now, because I was smart and I left my zippery thing open, we can now just turn this puppy right side to. Oof, oof, oof. You see the vinyl is fine. I'm not hurting the vinyl. And I'm going to poke out my corners. This is where if you had a purple thing, this would be really handy. And I do. So this is a purple thing. If you don't have one of these, they are the handiest gadget to have. They don't cost but a few dollars. Again, available both through us or through Mulqueen's. And I like the little square end. It's actually a 1/4 inch seam allowance gauge, but I like it to get in there and really square out my corner. You know, anytime I can get an inexpensive tool, it does a great job. And you can use this end. It's bent, so you can use it as a stiletto to help you push stuff through the sewing machine. I use it to poke things out again. Like this corner is going to be a real budgy one, so let's get that in there. Yes, I used the word budgy. There's that side, and the same thing on this side. Now, they are just plastic. If you push too hard, you will break it or bend it, like I'm bending it right now. But it does most jobs. So there we go. There is our adorable zipper pouch. And there are the threads that came. Oh, let's make it prettier. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. There are the threads for this month. And again, we did this and the quilt block. So I hope you enjoyed this quick tutorial on how to do block 2, how to finish the top of our Imagine quilt, which we will finish in 10 months, and the bonus project of the vinyl zipper pouch. I absolutely love this pouch. I thought it was a really fun project to make. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Make sure you leave me a comment below. Did you like the idea of a bonus project in your block of the month pattern? Which do you prefer, the block or the bag, or did you want to make both? So I hope you join us on this adventure with the Aurifil Thread Collector Club. You can sign up at mulqueen.com. I'll put the address on the screen and the link down below. Next month is month 3, and I've got some really pretty peach and cream. There's a sneak peek for you coming up, and the threads are just yummy for that one as well. So as always, make sure you like and subscribe, hit the bell if you want to be notified each time I do a video, leave me a comment. It helps boost our videos on YouTube, and I thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.